So, the other day on Twitter, on the Contest of Champions official Twitter page, they put out a post that really just kind of grabbed my attention right away. This post had the question, which spider people do you want on your team? And from this post, I took away two things. One, Iron Spider confirmed. Kind of the big news, I think, for everybody. It was in the motion comic as well. I think it's pretty safe to bet that Iron Spider will be coming to the game. Kind of another major version of Spider-Man overall, so I think it's not super surprising. But the other thing I took away from this post is that they're kind of, and I think a lot of people in the comments of this post took it that way as well, is what other versions of Spider-Man would you like to see in the game? Now, I've kind of made my my opinions pretty vocal over the last little bit with the release of Stealth Suit Spider-Man, that I was a little disappointed that we were getting yet another version of Peter Parker Spider-Man. Yeah, he's a little bit different than the others, I will grant you that, but overall I was just a little disappointed. It was like, out of all the other characters that you could have put in this game, even just some other characters from Spider-Man Far From Home, you chose to go with another Peter Parker Spider-Man. And don't get me wrong, I love Spider-Man, he's one of my favorite Marvel characters, just hands down, but we've already got a bunch of different Spider-Man characters in the game, a bunch of different Spider-Man Peter Parkers in the game already, so while I can't complain, the character is an amazing character, I just was overall just a little bit disappointed, but this got me thinking, it's what other versions of Spider-Man would I like to see come to the game? So I went to my big old book, Marvel character knowledge. This is a big boy. Like it's just big. It's just big. I just got this guy like a week or two ago. It's really awesome. It's got a bunch of different characters in here, but I went through looking to see what trying to just find a bunch of different alternate versions of Spider-Man, and admittedly, there weren't a whole lot in here, which is kind of a little disappointing. So I went to my other big place of knowledge, the internet, big shocker there, and I just put together a short list of other versions of just Spider-Man-like characters that I would like to see come to the game in the near future. Now, for the most part, I've just tried to avoid all other Peter Parker versions of Spider-Man. Like, if it's a spider character that comes through that's not Peter Parker, then, you know, I'll take it. But there were a couple that were just like really cool alternate versions of Peter Parker that I would maybe accept, maybe like a couple years down the road, maybe not right away, but still overall, it's just a short list, so I thought I'd just go through it, just kind of maybe try to give some ideas to the development team over at Kabam. If you're watching, I don't know, take notes. I don't even know if you watch my stuff, but if you do, hi, like me. That was so dumb. Regardless of that, though, let's get into it. So, the very first Spider-Man that I want to see, like, I want this guy to be the very next, if we get another Spider-Man, I want this to be the very next version of Spider-Man to come to the game, and I think a lot of people can agree with this can agree with me on this, is Spider-Man 2099. Now, I think Spider-Man 2099 is just, overall, he's just a huge fan favorite in the franchise. Now, he's absolutely amazing. He looks awesome. He's got an awesome set of powers. He's very different from the regular Spider-Man that we know. So his moveset and his abilities would just all around be very, very different compared to a lot of the other Spider-Man characters that we've had already. So I think just overall, he would be just a very smart choice to go with, fan favorite, very different set of abilities, and he's just one I would really, really like to see. Now, like I said, I would like to see him to be the very next version of Spider-Man. However, that's not likely going to be the case, as I pointed out in that post that they put out on Twitter. Very likely the next version of Spider-Man that we're going to get is the Iron Spider, which is, you know what, I'm fine with that. It is, again, it's a different version of Spider-Man. Now, there's a few different people that this could be. Like, it could be just Peter Parker in an Iron Spider suit. It could be Amadeus Cho from the Ultimate Spider-Man TV series. I believe at one point Black Widow had this suit, and there's just been a bunch of different characters that have had this suit on. Now, personally, I would actually kind of like it to be the Amadeus Cho version of the character. That was like one of the few things I liked about that Ultimate Spider-Man TV series, is I actually really liked that version of the Iron Spider. So if it is him, that would be awesome. Please just don't be another Peter Parker. Like, I love him, don't get me wrong, but we got a crap ton of Peter Parker in this game. So I think it's probably going to be him who's next. He might be he'll have like a little bit, he'll have some similarities, I think, to Doc Ock because of the mechanical arms and whatnot, but again, I think he can be another very different version of Spider-Man. Next is just a flat-out just personal favorite of mine. Like, I would flip my lid if this guy came to the game, and I think he would be one character that I would just full on, I would grind for him in the arena. I would make it work somehow. I would make the time to grind arena for him, and that would be Spider-Man Noir. Now, I just love the vibe that this guy gives off, just for the actual character in comics, in TV, movies, whatever. I just absolutely love this guy. I think, yeah, just one of the coolest looking versions of Spider-Man. Like, I'm just a huge fan of just Noir in general. Like, I get like kind of vibe, like the gangster kind of vibe, like I want to say like 1930s, like Chicago kind of vibe. But I think he's just really, really cool. Now, he, you know, wouldn't maybe be said anything super spectacular coming from him, like as for like stats and abilities. Like, he might not be an amazing character in the game, but for me, he's just a personal favorite that I would absolutely love to see come to the game. So, you know, he's a character that maybe will be a little ways down the line, but eventually I would like to see him come to the game for sure. Up next is another fan favorite, I think one that would just be more of a smart pick now. This version of Spider-Man's not necessarily my favorite. He's definitely a goofier version of Spider-Man, and you might already know who I'm talking about. That is Spider-Ham. He's just a super duper popular alternate Spider-Man. Would be a very interesting character, I think, to get to the game. Again, a little kooky, a little goofy, but yeah, just not my personal favorite, but I can definitely see there being probably a positive reaction, I would think, from this version of Spider-Man coming into the game. Like, if he's for like the monthly event quest, the story mode, having some interactions with him would be, I think, would just be hilarious. If somehow you throw Deadpool in there, for whatever reason he just gets put in there, I think that would be some pretty amazing interactions in there. But again, just his animations, I think, would just be so hilarious. Like, you could have a lot of fun making this character, just doing something just completely different, something that you haven't done in the game, or just something we haven't seen in the game before. I think he would be just, it wouldn't be my favorite version to come to the game, but it would be an entertaining version of Spider-Man to come to the game. But after Spider-Ham, there's actually two characters I'm going to talk about at the same time because they go by the same name, and that is Scarlet Spider. Now, the most popular version, or at least most well-known version of Scarlet Spider is definitely Ben Reilly, with kind of like the blue hoodie over top of the red suit. I think when anybody hears that name, Scarlet Spider, that's definitely the version that they think of first of all. Again, just another, I think, just fan favorite. I don't think he'd be anything super different from like just regular Spider-Man or anything like that, but I think like another alternate version of Spider-Man that would be a fan favorite. You could argue it might just be a little bit of a reskin, but I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind. Maybe there's something they could do about this guy that would make him something different. Now, when I'm doing this, admittedly, right now I'm just going off characters, what I know off the top of my head. I haven't done any particular research about the abilities of these characters, so I can't really give any suggestions like that at this point, but I just want to give just some ideas of possible characters for the future. But the other version of Spider-Man that I think would be really cool to have in the game would be the Kane Parker version of Spider-Man. Now, this character was the first attempt by the Jackal to clone Peter Parker, and he's got a very different set of abilities compared to Peter Parker. Like, he's got naturally occurring webs, and if I remember correctly, he's also got like these kind of like little spikes that come out of his wrists, which I think would be really cool to have in the game. And if I remember correctly, I believe he also has the power to go invisible. I might be wrong on that one. I might be mixing him up with somebody else, but I think that just that combination of abilities would be really cool to get into the game. And he's also just a really cool looking version of Spider-Man as well. Now, I tried not to go too far by the suits, or different suits of Spider-Man, but yeah, I think either Ben Reilly or Kane Parker would be really cool versions of Spider-Man, specifically Scarlet Spider, to get in the game. Next is another very well-known alternate Spider-Man, and that is SpiderWoman. I think now, out of all of the other alternate Spider people and whatnot, she's like, for well-known, for how well-known she is. She's definitely up there with, like, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2099. She's just one of the bigger alternate Spider people in the universe. Now, again, might not be a whole lot, different, especially compared to some of these other Spider people that I've mentioned now, but, again, I think she's just another major character in the Spider universe, yeah, but just the Marvel universe in general, just another major character that I think they definitely could fit into this game. Again, might not be within, like, the next few months or anything like that, of course, but maybe something like a year or two down the road, assuming, of course, the game is still around then, but just someone for just later on down the road might be a good character to bring in as well. The last alternate version of Spider-Man I'm going to bring up that would be just a completely different character is Silk. Now, this character, she is another kind of, I would say, more popular version. Again, she's not like super popular like Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, SpiderWoman level, but she's kind of like B tier in popularity, I think. Now, when I was looking this up, one thing I did read is she's one of the few alternate versions of Spider-Man that's in the main Marvel stream of like comics and storyline and whatnot, so that might push her past some of these other Spider people right away just because of that, because she is more mainstream. But she's got another interesting set of abilities. The way that she spins her webs is very different than Spider-Man. Like, she does it through like her fingertips rather than like her wrist, and actual also organic webs, not artificial webs like Peter Parker. But also, one thing that it does emphasize in her description is that she's a much more acrobatic version of Spider-Man. So she would definitely be a very low armor or a low durability character. If you kind of get what I'm going with here. She wouldn't be able to take a lot of hits, but I think she'd be a character that could dish out a lot. She'd be a bit of a glass cannon, I think, but she'd also be a very quick character, like evade and dodge, and I think would just be a huge part of what her character is. But apart from her, the rest of the alternate Spider-Man, or Spider people, I'm not sure exactly what to call these people, I'm just going to say Spider people, that I'm going to talk about are kind of all just kind of reskins, I think, for the most part. They probably won't be coming into the game, but just other versions of Spider-Man I think would be interesting to get in the game. The first one is Ghost Spider. This is literally just a hybrid between Spider-Man and Ghost Rider. Literally, I think safe to say my top two Marvel characters, just in general, having them as a hybrid turned out pretty cool. So I would love to see that. Probably not going to see that. If ever, that would be like 10 years down the road. That's like a, oh, we're running out of characters, who can we put in type of character that would join to the game. But just that I think would be a really cool version. But the problem is, it would probably just be a reskin of the character. Another kind of reskin would be, this one would be a reskin of Iron Spider when we inevitably get that type of character in the game. This one is Superior Spider-Man. This is when Doc Ock kind of takes, or in an alternate version, or alternate universe where Doc Ock takes control of Peter Parker's body, makes some changes to the suit and whatnot. It's a really cool version of the character. I used this character in Marvel Future Fight. Well, more specifically, it was an alternate skin for the Doc Ock character in Marvel Future Fight, and he's just a really cool looking guy. So personally, I would almost kind of rather get that version of like an Iron Spider than the actual Iron Spider. I like the look of Superior Spider-Man just a little bit more, but it's not likely that we'll ever see that this guy will ever see the light of day in the contest. But also another one would be SpiderPunk. Again, just for me, another just really cool looking version of Spider-Man, but I don't think he'd be a really great fit for the game. But again, 10 years down the road when we're running out of characters, we'll throw him in there just for the heck of it. And the last version of Spider-Man is a character that I can guarantee you we will never ever see in the game, but a version of Spider-Man that I came across while looking for Spider characters. I'm just going to throw the picture of this character up on the screen. I'll let you make the judgments for yourself. Spider-Man. When May Parker, Aunt May, lovable Aunt May, becomes Spider-Man and she makes Spider-Man cookies. Somebody was smoking marijuana when they made that character. Guaranteed. Overall, though, when it comes to just alternate Spider-Man opportunities for the game, there are just hundreds of possibilities, but maybe my one point I think I want to just get across to the developers over at Kabam when you're trying to decide what the characters are is try to stay a little bit away from Peter Parker, because those characters in a way almost kind of become like reskins, whereas like characters like Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen, they're completely separate characters. They're not just, again, like a reskin. Like you have like Stark Spidey and Stealth Suit Spider-Man. Yes, they are very different, but at the same time, it's the same character. Yes, it's a different moveset, but it's the same character. I'm looking for just new characters into the game, so try to maybe, yeah, get some of these alternate versions of Spider-Man, like 2099, please, like, if I can drill any single character I can drill into your minds. Spider-Man 2099, please, after Iron Spider, please let that be, like, your top priority. Just go. Just go. Apart from that, though, I think that is going to be it for this video, so I'm just going to say thank you all so much for watching. Leave in the comments below any alternate versions of Spider-Man that you would like to see come into the game. I'd love to hear what everybody else has to say about this topic, so again, leave it down in the comments below. Maybe someone over at Kabam will see the comments, and you never know, you might be the one who influences the next version of Spider-Man to come into the game. So yeah, leave those down in the comments below. Social media and whatnot, links are down in the description, so feel free to go check that out. Twitter, Twitch, Discord, all that stuff, go check that out as well. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, we got lots of it coming out all the time, so feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed this video in particular, please give the video a thumbs up. It lets me know what type of content that you guys like to see, so I can focus on that sort of stuff more in the future. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. Kabam, I hope you're out there watching or listening or something, but yeah, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.